Sitting on the banks of the Rowley Creek in northwestern Ohio, Bluffton University has always been seen as an underrated bastion for what it means to get a quality college education. And it's been one of those universities that has always been able to change with the times, being able to survive all the way back from back in 1899. But with the most recent move, with Bluffton merging with Findlay University, also up in northwestern Ohio, while some alumni applaud the move in order to change with those times yet again, there are also some other alumni that strongly disagree with this decision. One such alumni is Mark Kelly, a Bluffton quarterback back in the 1970s, and has some serious experience with working with various FBS schools, such as the Missouri Tigers that you see here. So a decision was made among with some of those disgruntled donors and alumni to finally start their own university because they don't agree with the direction that Bluffton is going. So join us on this journey in the return of Team Builder onto the channel as we try to take one of the new kids on the block as well as the current laughingstock of college football, and we try to build them all the way up to a national champion in this new era of college athletics. Welcome to the Bluffton Tech Fighting Muskrats Dynasty, the very first series with EA College Football 2025. Let's go ahead and introduce the team. Starting with some of the star players that are on this squad. You probably recognize this game if you've been around the channel for a little bit. Porter Winstrid used to play for the Gore Pirates. Well, he is on this Bluffton Tech team. He was recruited here as a 2-star recruit, was underutilized as a senior, but now he gets to show all of those people that doubted him completely wrong. 82 overall, this man is an absolute ball hawk, extremely fast as well. Would not be surprised if he helps in the kick returns, and I would not be surprised as well if he's one of the best players on our team this year. Up next is going to be our star running back, Will Peoples. Now, Will Peoples, he comes with absolutely bad intentions. Will Peoples is one of the shiftiest running backs in the entirety of the MAC. He comes in as an 80 overall. It is a well-balanced running back. Even his route running, which might be considered a weakness, is really not that bad for him. But what he really strives is in that open field. You get him into open space, and it could very well be barbecue chicken. Heading back over to the defensive side of the ball is Nash Birthday. Nash Birthday is a freshman out of Portland, Oregon, coming in as a 2-star player. Nash Birthday, also someone that is that throwback linebacker. He's going to come down into the box and hit you. He's not a modern linebacker, although he is extremely quick. He just loves to come in, help stop the run, and he is an extremely powerful person as well, coming in with 85 power. But one of the most important people on this team is DJ Armstrong. DJ Armstrong is going to be at least starting off as your starting quarterback for your Bluffton Tech Fighting Muskrats. DJ Armstrong is a dual threat quarterback. He is not the most aware, so he's not the greatest at reading defenses, but when he gets out into open field for a quarterback, he can certainly be extremely dangerous in that open field. 87 elusiveness, 85 quickness. He is a certified bad man. If we can figure out how to play the quarterback position with him, and he has plenty of eligibility as a sophomore, he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And then the last of the notable stars on the team is Xavier Wilson. Xavier Wilson is one of our top corners on this football team. A former three-star from the Bayou, Xavier Wilson, while he struggles with the coverage aspect of the game, he is an extremely fast player. He's not going to be someone that's going to be beat in open field very often, and let him touch the ball on an interception, he's going to be hard to catch by anyone on that offensive side of the ball. So with all of the star players notably pointed out, let's check out the rest of the roster. You got DJ Armstrong as the starter and Tyler Alston as that bridge backup. The key for next year is who's going to be that backup quarterback next year. Will it be Carl Navarro or will it be JoJo Thompson, who's also on this team? As for the tailbacks, it's mostly going to be Will Peoples that's going to get the majority of the carries, although you might see Keontae Tyson every once in a while. JG Weeks, on the other hand, he is one of the customs that's on this team. While extremely fast, still needs to learn how to play the running back position. Could contribute on special teams though. As for our wide receiver room, this is what we currently have for our wide receiver room. Well, we have 2 holdovers in Demetrius Williamson and Javion Foreman. The person I'm most excited about in this receiving room is Chris Gentry. He's the fastest player on my team, and I think he certainly has the most upside when it comes to being a future star on this football team. As for the tight end, Scott McCullough is going to be your starter, but backups is going to be interesting. You do have Jay Ballmer on this team, and Jay Ballmer is a quick athlete, but Maverick Bentley brings a different style of football to this team as well. They both can block tremendously. That could help us out in 3rd and shorts. One thing that I do want to address quickly here in the recruiting portion of this dynasty is I want to improve our offensive line. Well, we have some pieces here or there. Tyreek Williams has some potential. We also have Mac McClure, who's an okay guard. We do also have Jalen McDonald as a senior. And to me, Marcus Perkins is probably our best offensive lineman with Kalen Franklin. If we don't have a competent offensive line, if we can't win in the trenches, then we're truly going to struggle here to start the season out. So recruiting this side of the ball for the offensive line, extremely important. We also like to go and play in one of those, multiple types of defenses so that we can keep teams off balance. Joshua Townsend is going to be starting at the left end. He is a power rusher. And then on the opposite side is Kobe Garland. And it just goes to show that the trenches are going to be a top priority when it comes to recruiting. As for defensive tackle, you could see a rotation that primarily includes Deshaun Weeks, Jarian Love, and Cade Bloom. And now we get to the linebackers. Tajay Coles will likely start at left outside linebacker to start things out. He's a power rusher that has a quick jump ability. Starting at middle linebacker will be Chase Freeman, but I would imagine he would share time with the freshman Nash Burte. Nash Burte, one of the best players on this team, and think can really help us out day one, especially with how he can really come up and handle all aspects of the field. Finally, rounding out your linebackers is Octavius Terrell. Octavius Terrell is going to be listed as a starter at right outside linebacker, but honestly, I would probably put Nash Burte over there unless our starting middle linebacker got hurt. Now, for our corners, you saw Xavier Wilson, who is going to be our top corner, but we also have Jaden Bowie, who is a senior on this team. Terrell Pace, that's going to slot in as our slot corner. And then we have the freshman Vlade Kolensky. We need to get him into the weight room because he's 160 pounds soaking wet, but he does have 90 speed. He is a very athletic runner in open field. Just got to beef him up for a year, and then he'll truly be ready to make a major impact in college football. For the safeties, you got Nico Solomon starting for the safeties. He is a hybrid type of player from New Hampshire. We also have Zaire Wilson on this team as well. He is someone that actually does have a brother on this team. You guys remember Xavier Wilson? Well, Zaire Wilson, he's the younger brother. Also a college football player, but got some work to do, unlike his brother, in order to earn playing time on the field. And then, of course, Porter Winstrid is one of the best players on this team, with Alexander Valentine and Chris Ellinger as backups. Kickers, Ian Wells is going to start for us for the time being, but we do have Tommy White, one of your guys' customs that is waiting in the wing just in case we do see an injury occur. Finally, for punters, Matthew York is going to be our punter, and his deal breaker is playing time, so nothing now we have to worry about in terms of the transfer portal. So one thing about the team builders that you do need to be aware of is that whatever team you replace, you also replace their grades. So this is the grades that we're going to have. And even though we are starting off as a 1.5 star prestige, so we aren't starting at the very bottom from a budgetary standpoint, we do have a lot of weaknesses. However, with that being said, we do have a couple of things that we can hang our hat off of We do have program tradition that is going to be marked as a C, even though we recently started the program. Campus lifestyle at Bluffton Tech is not that bad either, as we actually invest in our dormitories, unlike a certain school across the street. Then conference prestige is not terrible. While we're not the best conference in America, at least we're not Conference USA, so at least we have that. All of these other things is stuff that we are going to have to work on over the years. This is only going to come from success on the field. That's the only way that we're only going to get better from here on out, at least for the vast majority of these items on the list. Next up, I want to show you guys what our schedule is going to be moving into year number 1, and we're actually going to start off with a pretty reasonable schedule. The MAC is, what it is, but we're going to challenge ourselves in non-conference play. We're going to play Louisiana to start the season, and Louisiana is a solid team in the Sun Belt. But then these next 2 games is really going to test our patience. We got Texas A&M on the road. That's going to Kyle Field. And then we also have Beaver Stadium on the road as well. That's a top 10 team in the country. We'll round out non-conference play with Old Dominion. And then we have the rest of our conference schedule. Teams in the MAC that we are going to go up against. Toledo is certainly going to be our big rival, as we did replace Bowling Green in this series. So Toledo's probably going to be the best team that we play within the MAC, but Miami is probably not too far off as well, because even though it says 6-7, that is actually not fully accurate. Miami is actually coming off winning the MAC championship last year, and if everything somehow goes right for us, you could see us at Ford Field for the MAC championship game. A couple of caveats that I do have, however, when it comes to our conferences, is that I did slightly realign things, right? So first, I did move SMU as an independent, because me personally, it didn't make sense for SMU to be in the ACC when there wasn't really any other teams that are legitimately in the area. So I did end up moving SMU as an independent, while Notre Dame, UConn, and UMass are still in here. I did not replace any teams for the ACC, so they also went down to 16 teams. The other thing of note that I did is that I mostly restored the Pac-12, because at the end of the day, I didn't think that the teams moving to the Big Ten or the ACC, geographically, once again, it didn't make any sense, so I did bring most of those teams back. However, for the Big 12, I didn't move those teams because for Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado actually used to belong to the Big 12 not too long ago. They actually are close to other Big 12 schools, so them moving to that conference actually makes sense. However, one more interesting caveat that I want to throw in terms of how conferences are going to work in this series is that there is going to be promotion and relegation in college football, at least in this college football universe. So you see how things line up. So here how it's going to work. The winner of the group of 5 conference, so let's say the champion of Conference USA, the Conference USA champion will go up to the Big 12, and they will replace the worst performing team in the Big 12, and that is going to be repeated for all of these other conferences that you see on screen, the exception being the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. In the first couple of years, or at least in the first year, Mountain West is going to send its 2 best to get the Pac-12 to 10. If there is a group of 5 team that does not finish with any wins, then what we'll see is that group of 5 team will be kicked out. They will become an independent, and they will be replaced by the best independent team that makes the most geographic sense. So hopefully that all makes sense. Really excited to see how promotion and relegation works in this series, and I'm hoping that we can do what we can to move up from the MAC to the Big Ten someday. But the most important thing about any football team is the head coach, and the head coach that will be leading the Bluffton Tech Fighting Muskrats into this new era of college football is Dalton Barentine. One of your guys' customs and one that is from one of the YouTube members, which you can check that on my description, by the way. Dalton Barentine is a 28-year-old coming from Indiana. That's where he played his college football, but now he is here close to where he went to college, to be honest with you. In order to lead this new program, and lead the challenge up ahead. Now, he also spent some time as a GA at Arkansas, so we are going to be running an Arkansas Pro style to start this Dynasty out. And then defensively, like I mentioned before, we are going to be running multiple different defenses because I think the most important thing for us is that we try to show multiple looks on that defensive side of football. That's at least Coach Baratine's philosophy going into this series. So next episode, we will embark on Bluffton Tech football history as your Bluffton Tech Fighting Muskrats. They will take the field for the very first time, and we are absolutely excited about the opportunity. I hope you guys are extremely excited as well. If you are, make sure you go ahead and smack that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well if you do have to be brand new, as next episode we will host the Raging Cajuns out of the University of Louisiana. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. But I hope you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.